Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming to our session. I'm Amber Singh, and I'm the head of secondary at Emirates International School, Jumeirah. I am joined today by Harry Allen, who is the deputy head and has presented to the KHDA earlier this year at What Works. I think it was in September, October. And then also, we know that we always want to talk about evidence and impact, and what better evidence but to have students with you. So we will have 3 students, Donna, Mary, and Jay, and they will speak to you at the end about their experiences. So you will see from the title is it's about cultivating learners without borders. All right, so let's jump into some of the key things. One of the things that we are especially proud of at EIS Jumeirah is that in this particular area, social responsibility, connections, the way that students learn about the world around them, that consistently over the many inspections that we've had, that we are ranked as very good to outstanding. It's something that we definitely are very, very proud of. One of the reasons that I believe we're able to do this so well is because of the curriculum that we offer. How many of you offer IB at in any program in your school? I need to know who I'm speaking. Does anybody offer the diploma program? The IB diploma program? Is there anybody in this room that offers the IB? Okay, because I don't want to use the word the magic pill, but having the IB as your curriculum forces you to make sure that your students are engaged globally. And I'll speak about how it does that. But this is why I've underlined it here. Because the idea behind IB is that you are indeed cultivating international learners. And there are things that we must build into the curriculum and that we must report on to be an IB school. Now, there's nothing wrong with other curriculum, all right? I'm from the United States. I went through an American curriculum system. Nothing wrong with it. But you all know, working in schools, that you get what you inspect, right? So that's what I want talking about here. I won't spend too much time, but when your report cards have to talk about kids' global context, when it has to talk and report on how the kids are doing in their action and service, guess what? You get it. Because when those parents can see through our manage back system, our online portal, how their kids are doing in action and service, or how they're doing in their global context, how it's tied to the curriculum, they will call you and ask. And that's a key thing. Do you guys agree with that statement? Do you agree that you kind of get what you inspect? If it's not on a report card, a lot of times it falls as a side part of what you're delivering in your curriculum. But once it's built in, we've appointed, obviously, coordinators for the global context and for action and service. It's another very important thing, all right? So you've got to have the structure there. Lastly, the school climate. Because we must have action and service as part of our curriculum, because we must have global context as part of our lesson planning, you create a system where teachers need to be aware. You create a system where students need to be aware. And not only do they need to be aware, but they obviously need to engage. And so it creates a school climate where kids are constantly doing that. So many times during the week, students come to my office, Mrs. Singh, I need your signature. I need to do whatever it is I'm doing. We're looking to do a humanitarian week. We're looking to do this. We're looking to raise money for this charity. And we're looking to do that. We need your signature, right? And yes, of course, they're doing it out of their goodwill. That's fine, we all get that. But we definitely have seen a huge increase in the amount of students that are engaged in action and service because they must, all right? And that's why a lot of times my days are filled signing these proposal forms, which is a very good thing. All right, so a couple of other things. What I'm talking about primarily is the middle years program, the IB middle years. We are a full IB continuum school. We offer the PYP in the primary years. We offer the middle years to years 7 to 11. So that's a huge chunk of our school. And then in year 12 and 13, we offer the diploma program and the new IB career-related certificate. And the reason I really want to address the middle years is it models a lot of what happens also at the top end, but I also just want to take that chunk, that years 7 to 11, all right? Because if you need to hear me talk about the DP and the CP, we will not finish today. So I've just decided to focus on one. This is the curriculum as it's designed by IB. And I've put 2 arrows, and you can look at it, because built inside the curriculum, again, is this action and service. And here, the global context. Okay, and at the end of the middle years program, all students are also required to do a personal project, which then again links back to they have to link that to their global context as well. But I really want to focus on the action and service and the global context. So this is the curriculum, and you can see how it's brought together through that international mindedness. This is the purpose of it. It's an internationally minded curriculum by design, and these are the requirements that we have. All right? For example, if you look at service in action, right, kids need to be involved, but we need to devise the structure for kids to take away learning from it. So at the end, or I can give it out now, but I'll probably give it at the end, you can see the action and service has very, very discrete steps that every student needs to undertake. You know, the idea, that's usually when they show up in my office, right? But they've got to build on that and put that into ManageBack. How many of you, do any of the schools, if you're not IB schools, you probably don't use ManageBack? Okay, yeah, okay. ManageBack is one of our educational management systems, but it's quite related to the IB. And they then have to report on what they're doing and all of these different steps onto ManageBack. All right? And then we have a staff member that has to follow them up and chase them up when their action and service isn't complete. All right? But it's important to layer it out and to give the steps and to see how you go from your idea, obviously, to the end point, the reflection. You guys are all familiar with the Bloom's taxonomy. So if you reverse that Bloom's taxonomy, you know, this, of course, is the end game. All right? But again, it's very, very well designed at our school. What we've also done is get everybody on board. You have to do it, but you also have to make it something that they care about. And how do you do that? You have to get people on board. Can anybody tell me why that might be important? Okay, how many of you use collaboration in school, in your schools? Yeah?
Create a healthy atmosphere.
Okay, creates a healthy atmosphere, yes. What else might be?
Take collaboration with all the activities of children and many things we collaborate.
Yes. I mean, we, you know, as educators, we like to say to kids, this is what you have to do. But we also know the flip side, that you've got to get them on board and make them part of, you know, you have to have their buy-in, all right? So one of the things that our action and service coordinator did was have a little campaign. So you'll see a lot of different pictures, but to get kids excited about their service in action or their global context, and this was part of this, all right? So I'll just take you through some of these, all right? Global context. That's the second part. So action and service, we'll return to it in a moment. This is the second part of what we're talking about, the global context. This is designed by IB and it's implemented by us in each and every single lesson plan for the MYP. When they get to year 12 and 13, it's different. It's called the theory of knowledge, but the idea is the same, that you're linking subjects. And then these are the lenses by which you're learning. And when the students come up and talk to you, maybe or maybe not, they will refer to their global context in the sense of what they've done. All right, globalization and sustainability, fairness and development, identities and relationships, all of the subjects need to be designed around a context. How is it that our discussion on pi in mathematics, how does that relate globally? How can you take that out of what you're doing and apply it in a more general global manner? And that's also at the heart of the IB, is the global context. And this also helps you develop your inquiry-based learning. All right? Same thing. Creating the understanding of the global context in the school. Same idea. Get the kids involved. Do a fun campaign. Right? And the three of you back there, you guys know your global context most of the time, correct? Yeah. All right, well, you're supposed to, all right? And so this was a very nice campaign. All right, back to service in action. Again, this is just a series of pictures, but it'll give you a feeling of how we've developed this, not just from a curriculum perspective, but also the idea of having everybody on board, that this really is central to what they do. All right, so staff members. Okay, Donna, that's you right there. All right, you see what it says in the middle here? Yeah, and Donna, could you just explain, sorry to put you on the spot, but when Miss Dearden came by, just tell me about how this developed.
She asked us on what we were doing for our next service in action project, and it was something I was very passionate about, which is helping year 7 students and organizing the United Program. So she told me to write down what I was feeling about it, so I was really excited.
Okay, all right, and we developed a nice campaign from that. All right, other students? Staff? Another one of our students? Another staff member? Oh, how did I get in there? It's me. They got me as well. But I think that's also an important piece. All right. So bottom line, I think from my end, what I want to share, and maybe Mr. Allen would like to add to this, is that build it into your curriculum. And most of you probably have something already in terms of global citizenship, or how many of you have something already in your schools? Yeah, probably many of you already do. But I think the difference for us is that once it is part of your curriculum and you must report on it, because otherwise you will lose your accreditation by IB, it forces you to do it, absolutely forces you to do it, right? I think that, I'm not sure if you guys would all agree with that, but I think that that's true. I think that that's what I've seen, is that once it's there, once it's on report cards, you then must do it, all right? I want to turn it over to 3 of our students. They do want to come up together because they will talk actually about the impact that this has had on them and what they have learned from it. So I'm going to ask Jay, Mary, and Donna. They will come up together. They all have sort of a different set of experiences. They will then share with you what they've done, and then we can open up to questions from the audience. Yeah?
When asked about what global citizenship means, people tend to speak about being a person who belongs to the world and the importance of it. On the other hand, I like to show what global citizenship means to me as an individual, and how I have already taken the initiative to be more than just a teenager studying in a school, and to truly be a citizen of our world. I believe in actions speak louder than words. And I know that's an extremely cliche thing to say. However, I believe it accurately defines what global citizenship is about. It's taking that step and attempting to involve global citizenship in your life. I'm thankful to say that I'm able to do this through many extracurricular activities that are offered in school. Activities where I can learn more about the community I live in, as well as communities around the world. Students in Dubai are extremely privileged as we have access to these activities, be it going to a different country for MUN conferences, or staying in the city itself for attending competitions, or taking it upon ourselves within school to holding events where we address problems such as physical and mental disabilities of people within our community. I'm proud to say that I have displayed qualities of a global citizen. One of the most memorable experiences I have had in the last 15 years was going to Singapore for a conference for MUN. I got to meet and interact with other teenagers my age, whom I have never met before, but had to address a problem and create a solution with. I had to look at the world through a different perspective and try to empathize and understand what these migrants face on a daily basis. I had to become a global citizen. However, being a global citizen doesn't only need to be able to empathize with people and communities around the world. It means to be able to start in our own communities and try to make a change there. I recently contributed in organizing a special needs carnival, where we invited children and adults who have physical and mental disabilities to our school, where we set up food and decorations and try to help them form new friendships with each other and other students in our school. We try to make them feel more welcome in our community, as they rightly deserve like anyone else. To be a global citizen, you must start from where you are. As spoken about global contexts before, one of them that really stands out to me is fairness and development. And this means to develop through ideas and perspectives and helping out people in your community. And to be a global citizen, you need to understand what the impact of development has on other people, and how if you're fair enough, it makes a change to other people. That's the importance of global citizenship.
Thank you, Jay.
Becoming a global citizen begins with the understanding and the awareness of others, and the struggles that they go through in daily life. Experiencing pain through art, logic, and language. Now, during a poetry unit in English, we were assigned to focus on an issue regarding social injustice that we personally thought was the most important to us. And my main focus was on women and equality and expectations. Women in parts of the Middle East and parts of the world are seen inferior in marriages. Despite the fact that they have been vowed to be equal, these women suffer difficulties that are seen as love and patience more than an actual suffering, simply based on social expectations and gender expectations made by the society surrounding them. Learning and practicing different techniques to convey a message through poetry has helped me address an experience that I haven't personally gone through and possibly will never go through. But it creates emotion through language. It creates a relationship between the poet and the audience. As a personal passion, poetry has taught me how to connect with people, giving them an insight on my message. And that helps with the understanding, and that comes into contact with the global context that I focused on, which was personal and cultural expression. I chose this because it gave character personally, but it also allowed me to connect with people around the world, to connect with people globally with similar cultural backgrounds.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Being a global citizen also means to connect, guide, and educate the younger children through our own ways and our own perspectives. Fortunately enough, we've been given the opportunity through the peer mentorship program which Jay and I lead. This program consists of a group of 30 Year 10 students, and every 5 of us is assigned to a Year 7 class. We look after the children and make sure the transition into high school and the middle years program is smooth and successful. Throughout this, we spend our Sunday morning form times hanging out with them and giving our lessons on various topics such as organization, action and service, the issues of bullying, and more. The concept that we are an older figure and role models to the kids is an honor to us. And to have the chance to walk them through a process we were in just 3 years ago. To link this into our global context, identities and relationships, the children's personality is built through the motivation and confidence, as well as the closure that the older students are there to look out for them. Apart from that, they can build their own identities and create an image for themselves as caring global citizens. The empathy they show to people in different communities who face problems on a daily basis defines the healthy relationship they have. A passion of mine is human rights. I believe that it is vital for every human being to know their privileges and way they should be treated, as believe it or not, inequality is still happening, whether it be sexism, racism, or the abuse of laborers' rights. Last year, I took the initiative to create a presentation on these rights and to present it to a Year 6 class. It was inspiring to see how much these kids knew and what they were sharing, whether it be discussing issues about where they came from or suggesting solutions to worldwide crises. To me, this is what global citizenship is about, educating others on issues that communities all around the world are facing. I strongly urge teachers of today to hand over the mic to their youth and hear the ideas that we have and are worth studying.
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you guys, because I know it takes a lot of guts to get up. Can I ask how many schools here do the TED Talks at their school, TEDx Youth? Okay, because we were the pioneering school. I know other schools do it now as well, but we were the very first school to host that in Dubai. And I know, Donna, you've spoken at TED. I think you were in Year 8 when you did, or Year 7.
Year 7 is
Okay, she was Year 7. You were probably 11 or 12 and got up in front of a whole audience. And Emily, have you spoken at TEDx? Okay, all right, that's another fantastic forum. Okay, what I want to do now is just give our little handout, and then you can take a look at it, and then we can address questions. Maybe Mr. Allen, yeah, thank you. I'll just take you through just very quickly what we have. Oh, you have, okay. All I want to just show you is what we're sharing with you, which you are free, obviously, to take back to your schools in any capacity that you need. Very quickly, just so that you have the general IB mission statement, goes back to what I said earlier, that for us, adopting the IB curriculum has been extremely important, all right, in terms of having an internationally minded student body, acting and, you know, building the learner profile skills around the international mindedness. That's your IB mission statement in a nutshell. And this is our global context and how they're delivered, so how they're designed and how we deliver them. And again, I want to emphasize that every single lesson plan that we have in year 7 to 11 has to have your MYP global context, right? And then you can build your questions and your inquiry from that, right? And then I've just given a little blurb on our service in action, what it is, and also I mentioned that word reporting many times, but also how it's assessed. All right, so that's our takeaway. I think now we can have sort of an open forum if you have questions of us or you comments. How many, can I ask just offhand, how many of you have standalone programs for students that are either action-oriented?
Action-oriented, we do have action-oriented plans.
But who, is there somebody that's in charge of it at your
Yes,
school?
we have a supervisor and like I'm from a kindergarten background.
Okay.
Kindergarten teacher. So we have activity-based learning, and for that we appoint different teachers. Maybe sometime our coordinators come, then they start the program, and then we divide the work and they're doing that.
Okay, because that's key for us as well, in the fact that we have an action and service coordinator, that is their job to do that. They also teach, but the other part of the time, this is their responsibility.
We also have it, but we don't have separately action service teachers. And then so high school teachers who are then helping them,
Yeah.
coordinators and heads who are helping them out, but they are actually doing action as well.
Yeah, but do you put it on your report cards? Okay, because that's a key thing as well. Yeah? Are there questions, or you want to know further how we do this at EIS?
Or just in general,
Yeah.
any comments, or anyone like to share anything that they do at their school, or?
Like you see the global citizens, we are also following. Like MU and 11, they are also organizing in our school, and kids they are participating. But the difference is as you said, you are following this IB, and now this CBSE curriculum, and that's the main difference with you guys and all. But global citizen, it is there in our mission as well, and we also would like our children to be as global citizens in future. We inculcate one of this thing we inculcated in them is to have global citizen.
What I'll tell you the big difference, because I actually saw it happening at our school. When I first started at EIS Jumeirah, we were just adopting the MYP. We had had the DP for many years. And I remember my first couple of years, we still had the IGCSE in year 10 and 11. And I know what I was seeing is that the only thing students were worried about was getting to that IGCSE exams. And it's also the only thing the teachers were talking about. It was all about revision, revision packs, what's your pass rate, how can we get more A stars, how can we go from a B to a C, and it was the focus. And I can tell you we've seen that change, but we do need to assess it, because obviously we get the inspectors in and they need to know how we're doing. And then we're building a system around that as well.
I think it's a key point to remember, particularly for schools who are perhaps still developing, it's a constant stage of developing, for something perhaps that they're looking for, is to start in your own backyard, as it were. So to some extent, schools are still somewhere where students are sent for a period of time until they're deemed fit to enter society. and it's all behind gates and walls, and never the twain should meet. A good starting point is just to establish the school as a centre in the community, as very much an active part of the local community. I mean, we've talked a lot about what's happening overseas and the wonderful examples from our kids, but one of the first things that struck me when I joined the school was the Al Family Street cleanup. And the kids were just getting out, literally outside the front door, and just helping to what was immediately around them. We then try and invite the community into the school, so they can see what's behind the walls and the cameras and the security guards and all the rest of it. I think once the school, your school, sees itself as part of the community, the local community, and the local community recognises it as such, and then the rest just becomes natural, just spreads further and further and further. And being particularly in an international environment, you're having kids in the holidays dispersing to the four corners of the globe and coming back with all these wonderful contacts that they bring with them. A good example from my last school, which wasn't in Dubai, was out in Southeast Asia, and a girl had been involved in an action service project. She went back to the part of the Philippines where she was from, and she found out there was a school during the wet season, the kids had to swim to school. So she got involved with a charity there called the Yellow Boat of Hope, which were trying to buy enough boats to get the kids from the village to the school during the rainy season. That's in the Philippines. She brought that back to Singapore, and our school in Singapore then created this link with the Yellow Boat of Hope, which then spread throughout Singapore and Malaysia, getting other people on board. That's one kid doing it. Yeah? Just from being actively engaged in their local community, which at the time was Singapore, and the international community, which was back in the Philippines.
Can I ask how many schools here do overseas trips for their students? Because I know it's quite popular. Yeah, the Cambodia trip, I know many schools are doing that as well, but that's, again, we tied that with our action and service as well. We tie our ESAP as well, the Duke of Edinburgh version. We have
taking the student for the cities, being as a student coastal culture, we are taking the student for the city, Makkah, Saudi Arabia.
Ah, okay.
Every year.
Oh, okay, okay.
Those who are getting the high tuition classes, from the college classes.
For the Islamic students.
Yes.
That's a very nice idea.
Every year,
Okay,
that is
okay.
round about
Yep.
48, 50, 30 to 45 students, and the rest is the staff. Every year, from last 96.
Okay, you've just given me a good idea. That's a very good idea. Guys, are there other questions that you want to ask or comments,
So,
tips, or if there's anything that you want to share? Because I've just picked up this very nice idea here. I'm going to go back to our Islamic Studies department. I like that. That's very nice. Tips, because otherwise, if there's any questions for the students.
they should introduce themselves. From which school they didn't introduce themselves. You just take their
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. They're from our school, but go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and give your first and last names if you
Yes.
want.
I am Jay. I'm
Your
from,
complete good name, please.
Jay Sandhu.
Jay Sandhu.
I'm from India and I'm from Emirates International School, Junior.
Which class?
I'm in grade 10.
Grade
Year 10.
grade 10.
My name is Mary Rita. I'm from Emirates International School, Junior. I'm in year 10, as Jay is, and I'm in his.
100 slow. Yes.
I'm Dana Bazari. I'm from Emirates International School, Jumeirah in year 10, and I'm Palestinian.
From
Palestine.
Palestine. My name is Saifullah Khan. I'm teaching the board classes from Pakistan. Social sciences, like Pakistan culture as well.
Well,
Thank you.
Interestingly enough, on our drive over, we all came in one car, and our conversations were about our backgrounds. And I can tell you that they're not telling you the full story or even our full stories, but to see what's happening here in Dubai in terms of being international and where our mothers are from and where our fathers are from and where our husbands are from and wives are from, we had a very interesting mix.
Yes.
Yeah? Very
It's a
interesting
mix
mix.
of culture.
Oh, yeah.
Mix
And
of countries.
yeah, and they were telling us about it as well. Very interesting backgrounds. All right, so with that, thank you very much. Thank you for your, yeah.
Yes.